It was the last day of school, the last day of finals, my second semester of my junior year of college. It had been an awful semester. My classes that semester were very difficult, and they all were crammed in to those few weeks. I felt like I had been working so hard, and I was just so ready for the semester to be done. I remember it as if it were yesterday, taking that last final, walking up to the teacher's desk and placing it down, walking out of the classroom, down the stairwell. I remember opening up the door and walking outside. It was an unseasonably warm spring day. The sun was shining. It was absolutely gorgeous. I walked out to my car. I opened the door. My bags were packed. My friends and I were going to head out to my parents' lake cabin and spend a couple days relaxing and enjoying the freedom we had from school together. As I pulled away, I opened up the windows, the warm air circulating through my car, the sun beaming through the windshield, warming my face. My favorite band had just released a new album that week, and I had their CD in the CD player in my car. The music turned up so loud I was scared that the speakers were going to blow. And as I drove down that road, I still can remember being so overwhelmed by the feeling that life just couldn't get much better than it was at that moment. I was singing at the top of my lungs. I remember looking out at my arm as my hand was on the steering wheel and being able to see the goosebumps that lined my skin. Tears were almost welling in my eyes. It was one of those moments that you are just captured by. And I remember at that time thinking if there's some way that I could possibly take that feeling, take that emotion, and somehow force it into a bottle and screw the cap on so tight to save that feeling. Because as all of us know, those feelings, those experiences are so fleeting. As quickly as they come and grab us, they are just as quickly gone. And I wanted to save it. I wanted to save that feeling so that when life came back and presented itself to me, I could just screw the cap off just a little bit and get just a little taste of that feeling that I had at that moment. We all have those experiences. We live in a culture that tells us that we need those experiences. We live in a time and a place that tells us that if we just work a little bit harder, we can get just a little bit more of those experiences. You see, because we live in a culture that's telling us that we need to be happy. We live in a culture that tells us that we can create our own happiness. All you need to do is go to a Barnes & Noble bookstore, walk in the front door, you'll see a big aisle labeled self-help. And in the aisle of self-help, there are rows and stacks of books that are filled with the newest and latest ideas of how to be happy, how to build your platform to success, 6 new steps to a new you, different ways that we can just find that contentment that we all are after so desperately. But as we all know, when we get to that happiness, so often it is so fleeting. Oh, we want to be happy. But my challenge to you tonight is to say that none of us should want to be happy at all. You see, the scary thing about happiness is happiness is tied to an experience. Happiness is tied to an event. And when we run so hard to achieve that experience, when we run so hard to get that event, well, once we're on the other side of it, we're left feeling so empty and so alone. There's a void that develops inside of us, and we're off to find the next new thing. And in this life that we've created for ourselves, well, we end up just getting so tired, Our lives have become a rat race filled with trying to get the next thing. We filled our lives so full of stuff. We filled our lives so full of things and events and experiences that somehow we think are going to fill us with the joy that we seek. But oh no, we don't want to just be happy. We don't want our lives to be dependent on those fleeting experiences. No, as we look at the petition of the Lord's Prayer that we're looking at tonight, we don't want to be happy at all. What we want is to find a little joy, to find a little substance, to find that breath of life that's going to sustain us, that's not going to leave us feeling empty. No, we don't want to be happy at all. It was hot. It was so very hot. And it was the middle of the day. She was out to fetch some water, and at this time, during these days, to get water was a very hard task. To do so at the middle of the day was ludicrous. You see, because at this time and in this place, in the middle of the day, it was so very hot. No, when the women would go and get water, they would either do so just at the break of day or just as the sun was setting at night, as if to somehow make the task somewhat bearable. The only reason you would ever go and fetch water at the middle of the day is if there was something you were trying to escape. And she most definitely was trying to escape. She'd been trying to fill her life full of experiences. She'd been trying to fill her life with the love of men, and it had left her feeling ashamed, broken, and empty. And so she went at the hottest time to escape the scornful, judgmental eyes of all the other women. Oh, and as she approached that well that very day, much to her dismay, she found somebody there. It's in John chapter 4. It says, "Now he had to go through Samaria, so he came to a town in Samaria called Sychar, near the plot of ground Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired as he was from the journey, sat down by the well. It was about the 6th hour. When a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, 'Will you give me a drink?' His disciples had gone into town to buy food. The Samaritan woman said to him, 'You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink?' For Jews do not associate with Samaritans." Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it was that asked you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." Oh, I can't imagine how humiliated she was as she walked to the well that day. She had a reputation. People knew who she was. People knew what she did. And as she approaches the well, she sees not only a man there, but a Jewish man. I'm sure she got up to the well and just wanted to get her water, wanted to get done, and wanted to get out of there. Didn't want to make eye contact with this man. As she approaches the well, all of a sudden this man speaks. "Will you give me something to drink?" She says, "Don't bother. Why, you don't talk to me. I am a Samaritan woman, and I'm a Samaritan woman that comes with a lot of baggage. Don't talk to me. You don't want to be associated with me." And Jesus says, if you knew the gift that was asking you for a drink, you would ask me, and I would give you water that would make you never thirsty again. We live our lives running so hard just to catch up.